Welcome everyone to the Inclusion Cluster 3 at 3:30 until 5:30 today. My name is Agnes Sarolta Fazekas. I am the leader of the work package 6 on inclusion of the CHARM EU. Welcome. I really hope that the connection is well and we will also take care of the technicalities. Before we go to the session, I would like to introduce to you that we have real-time captioning starting at 4 o'clock. So we will have the real-time captioning at 4 o'clock, and you have the information on the CHARM EU website, the YouTube channel. All right. There is also another thing which I would like to start. Today we have also external speakers, and we are very welcome and welcoming them later at 4 o'clock. I will also share my screen, and I also see some technical things, but I hope that it's all right. I will share my screen. Please also bear with us with the technicalities, and also I'm really hoping that everything goes well. All right. So today we have the structure for the 2 hours. We have a welcome part, and then we give the space to the inclusive good practices by the project owners of the 5 CHARM EU universities, and afterwards we wrap up and then we look to the future. What is the way forward? I will be also your timekeeper, and we will make sure that everything goes smoothly. So now I would like to also ask my colleagues to support me with a little bit of energizer today at this afternoon. Please go to slido.com and enter the place with CHARM EU Cluster 3. It starts with a hashtag, and we have also a really nice 3 questions to you to energize at this late hour in the afternoon. Now I'm also hoping that my colleagues can help with this, and then it's also on the screen. I also take off my screening. Hopefully it will go well. Right, absolutely. Now I can also hopefully see that my colleagues are supporting with this Slido. So the first question is really an inclusion topic that please think about freely and with a free association. What does inclusion mean to you? So we would like to have a combination of word clouds that it can also mean a lot of things for everyone. I'm also checking that maybe my sound is not as well, so I'm trying to reconnect while you are working with the Slido. Excellent. I also see some words, and I also ask that my colleagues that the word and the sound is perfect, and I also kindly ask them to say yes or no. Yes, perfect, sounds well. All right, I'm very, very happy. So we see equality in the middle, diversity, communication, also human collaboration, humanity. These are very wonderful things. All right, let's save this for the moment, and we can go back to the next question. We can also save for a later stage these things. Thank you. So the next question is, In your opinion, what does sustainability have to do with inclusion? And again, we would like to bring together these two topics and ask you what you have in mind. And this is again a so-called, how to say, a so-called free association. All right, so let's see what you have in mind when you hear these two words together, sustainability and inclusion. Let's start. Meanwhile, we are waiting. It is also very nice to reflect back on the panel this morning that it was also mentioned, inclusion and also sustainability. All right, so common goals, yes, the future. Every person has the possibility to bring their own thoughts, yes. Socioeconomic aspects, very good. Very, very good. Everything. There is no sustainability without social inclusion. Absolutely. Innovation, very, very good. Better understanding of the topic. Yeah, very good. Accessibility. Hybrid teaching, yes. All right. Thank you so much. We will cover this area so we can also come back to this. Embracing difference. Very, very good. All right. I kindly ask my colleagues to go to the last question. What do you need to take the leap towards designing inclusive spaces for people in all their diversity? So what do you need? We would like to have your wish list here. That what do you need to take the step towards creating an inclusive spaces? SDGs, which stands for Sustainable Development Goals. Yes. Also think about very freely what you think about, what you need in order to design your spaces that embraces everyone. Money, financial resources are very essential. It is very true. Sustainability is a social issue, not just environmental and economic. Very good. Grants, yes, again, financial resources. So we can also think about resources. Very good. Need assessment, yes, and information. Very, very good. We have all kinds of diversity. And we also need to understand what we need, yes. Creative thinking, students' involvement, yes. Help of designers, very good, very good. All right. So with this note, I also would like to take the chance to continue our presentation today. And thank you so much for the colleagues who shared with us this Slido. Now I go back to my screen sharing. Hopefully it will go well. And then now I'm sharing my screen again. All right, please take a moment with me so I can also go back. All right, so we have done this wonderful exercise. I hope that you get energized. And now I also would like to take the chance to give you a brief overview of the Charm EU. Today in the morning, you already learned so much about Charm EU. What we would like to highlight now that there are different work packages to work towards a shared goal. And we have also the work package on inclusion, which works and collaborates with the work packages. And then we also would like to give advice and support to the Charm EU when it comes to designing and delivering the activities, the educational spaces. All right. But the main question here, what does mainstreaming inclusion and diversity mean in Charm EU? So our main goal is to safeguard that inclusion and diversity sits at the heart of the Charm EU's culture, design, and delivery of the work packages. And You already mentioned in the Slido activity that involvement is a very important thing. So we also work under the framework and umbrella term, nothing about us without us, which means that no policy or practice should be decided without the full and effective participation of various groups, various individuals, and also it includes everyone with their diversity, with the various backgrounds and lived experiences and access needs. And I also would like to take a moment here because we really believe in this co-creation and embracing all the voices, embracing all the things. But I should tell you that it's really a step-by-step approach. So it's really taking little by little. But myself, I'm really believing that every day we are moving towards this. And we really would like to have the information and the feedback of the groups, such as also giving feedback to this whole Charm EU days about today. What was the experience from the end user's point of view? All right. So we always talk about inclusion, and I would like to also share with you is that what does inclusion mean to us? What does inclusion mean to us as Charm EU, as individuals? And before I move into the inclusion word, I also would like to highlight to you that inclusion is much more than a buzzword. It has a meaning, and we should work towards that. We really take it in a very serious way when it comes to inclusion. And myself, I'm also on this approach with my colleagues and with the wonderful people around the Charm EU. So let's see, what does inclusion mean? So it's a shift on organizational culture or structure where different groups or individuals with different backgrounds, various circumstances, and own lived experiences feel the sense of belonging, feel respected and valued, and feel celebrated with their own diversity and treated without discrimination. And of course, these can be circumstances that are visible or hidden. For example, I have, like, maybe you don't see me, but I have shorter arms. So these circumstances are visible in my case, but there are so many invisible things. Then what does it require? Require systematic change in structures, approaches, programs, teaching and learning environment, and really looking at the barriers. What are the barriers that creating the difficulties to access such the teaching and learning environment or any programs? And we can also refer to the policies and practices such as the Green Deal. And I also brought you a visual which is also really explains that diversity is really taking into account all the diversity and really celebrating it and looking at what are the barriers that creating problems for accessing. All right, let's go back to the next point, which is also connected with the so-called sustainable development goals and the European Green Deal, and with all these topics. So you are wondering that, all right, what is the connection with our topic today, with the European Green Deal and with the Sustainable Development Goals? And it's really, I would like to really highlight this connection to you. So first of all, as I mentioned before, every aspect has, or every program, every aspect has an element on inclusion, whether you are creating a conference, whether you are creating a teaching and learning environment, whether you are creating the green programs or climate change. So everything has an aspect on it. But the reality is that there are people who are facing barriers and are excluded from policies and practices because of their disability, gender, all kinds of grounds. And what we need to do is to strengthen that, yes, social sustainability is an aspect in the European Green Deal, but what we need to do is that we need to really focus on that. Who is missing from this discussion? Who is missing from the negotiations? So again, we should think about that, who is included and who is excluded. And I also highlighted strengthening social and human rights approaches, that is no one left behind, which means that we need to really focus on that. We have this European environment with the Green Deal and all the Sustainable Development Goals, and also EU and also Europe has a lot of treaties and international agreements when it comes to human rights and protecting and safeguarding rights of individuals. And that's what we need to do, is that we need to put together these all things and not forget when we are designing and when we are in decision-making processes, and also when it comes to practice as well. So here comes the third point, where collaboration is highlighted. And I believe, again, that collaboration is really a very holistic and among structures and among professional expertise, we need to involve various stakeholders, also the users or their organizations who are supporting to promote their rights. And then it's important that all kinds of groups are involved in decision-making processes and also in the testing elements, that what is working good, what is can be improved, etc. And last but not least, I also brought you also a visual, first of all, that what are the specific goals of the Sustainable Development Goals that are connected with inclusion and diversity. So, of course, among the 17 goals, there are many interconnections, of course, but we highlighted a few for your information. So, number 5 is achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. And there are also this intersectional approach that we need to take into account, that are many people who have their own lived experiences and also have experiences and also face discrimination on multiple levels. We also need to account that every lived experience stands in their own. So this is also a thing that we need to take into account. All right. The next one is reduce inequality within and among countries. I also brought here as a visual the goal number 10, which you see an infographic. And it is also shown on the infographic that we should highlight that there are groups, underrepresented groups or groups who are vulnerable, who are specifically risk at like facing bigger poverty. They are also facing a lot of exclusion for certain policies and practices, even if we just think about accessing to water or accessing to basic things. Of course, if we look at the globe in a whole. And then we also have goal number 16, which is again stresses that promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, and also provide access to justice for all and build an effective and accountable and inclusive institutions at all levels. So again, here comes that in creating and moving forward toward inclusive societies is really a work, a collaboration together. And also we need to make sure that the people are also interlinked in these institutions when it comes to decision-making processes. The number 17 is again strengthening the means of collaboration and also to create that we are working together towards this inclusive environment. And just to finalize this slide here, I also would like to highlight that what we need to do is mainstreaming also means that we support each other in all kinds of activities. And so programs, policies, structures are not working parallel next to each other, but really together. And it's a learning journey. So I am also with a positive note on that, that inclusion is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. So also this conference today is a very good example that we are bringing together so many wonderful people to work on these global issues, and with the collaboration we can also achieve a more inclusive societies. And last but not least, the center of these approaches and these activities is the people, and also we should have this inclusive mindset when we are trying to remember that who is missing from the negotiations, who is not there. So it's also a reflection. And I also would like to, again, on a positive approach, highlight that we always have sometimes that we forget about some things, but it's a journey. So reflection is also a wonderful thing, to reflect that what are the barriers, who is there, who is not there, etc. I don't want to repeat it. I just want to highlight it, that it's very, very the essence of it. All right. I'm also conscious about the time. We have 6 minutes until the next session. But before we move on, I also would like, before I welcome our speakers and I also introduce our speakers today, I also would like to highlight that with this approach, that when we are creating an environment and we are designing, that we have in our mind that there are so many people out in the world. So it is really focusing on, when it says taking the leap, design like you give a damn. And I also quoted Leonie Watson from 2013. It was an online conference on digital inclusion. And again, she highlighted very nicely that again, with the consideration that no one is left behind, is important to design. Now it's almost 5 minutes to 4. So in order to be very time-wise very good, I also would like to check with my colleagues if we have the chance to also welcome the speakers. I also give you now a brief overview. So we have 5 universities, 5 wonderful speakers today from each of the Charm EU universities. We follow a very basic order, which is basically alphabetical order. So, sorry, just one thing. I also closed the sharing. So we have five speakers, and we start with the University of Barcelona. And then we continue with the Eötvös Loránd University in Hungary. Then afterwards, we have the University of Montpellier, Trinity College Dublin, And the last but not least, Utrecht University. Each presenters have 15 minutes for their speech, and after the 75 minutes, we will have an open space for questions and answers. And I also have a wonderful colleague on the YouTube who is supporting us with the question and answer. So please bear with us, and then we will collect all your questions for the last 15 minutes of this session. All right, now I stop sharing my screen, and then let's see what happens. And then I will also give the floor to the University of Barcelona colleague, and I also kindly ask every presenter to present themselves, their names, their institutions, and their position, and a very warm welcome. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Agnes. I don't know if we have had a little lag here because there was like a little problem with the sound. My name is Katy Jerez. I am the coordinator of the University of Barcelona Refugee Support Program. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers and the technical staff for this amazing initiative. Well, I appreciate especially that CHARM considers the inclusion of underrepresented group at the higher education level, not only as a part of its values and actions, but also as part of the Green Deal that cannot become true without social inclusion. We can leave no one behind. This is something that we have been listening for years. But this is more than a sentence. It's more than a 20, 30 agendas leitmotif. It's a commitment, it's a responsibility, and it's within the philosophy of the program I'm coordinating. For this reason, it's a pleasure to be here sharing with you this initiative called Support Program of the University of Barcelona for Refugee and People from Conflict Zones. Yes, now you can see my presentation. Yeah. Okay. So sorry for the inconveniences. Here you have the slide with the total amount of forced displaced people. Yes, 79.5 million of people coming from these 5 countries I mentioned. These percentages in enrollment of refugee in primary, secondary, and higher education. Well, the slide with the alignments of the program, the main obstacles I was talking about are these 5. There are more, but these 5 can let's say gather all the difficulties that refugees have in terms of access to higher education. The first one is the lack of recognition of prior learning. The lack of reliable information, lack of availability of scholarships, legal status is one of the big problems that refugees are facing, and lack or difficulties of their social and economic integration. Here we can find topics related to language learning, psychosocial support, sense of belonging, stereotypes, etc. The program works these elements through a comprehensive approach that involves university community and key stakeholders as public administrations, NGOs, and enterprises, as we will see later. What are the main purposes of the program? It's a promotion of the access to higher education and social integration for social inclusion, not integration, of refugees, asylum seekers, stateless people, and people in refugee-like situations. And the main characteristics, as you can see here, are the following. The program is open not only for these people with the recognition, with the refugee recognition, with the stateless recognition, or as asylum seekers. The program is open to these people in refugee-like situations. The program wants to support students in these situations whose their educational pathways have been interrupted and that are in a vulnerable situation in economic and in human rights terms. I have to mention that it's not an academic excellence program. We are not looking for the next Edison. We are looking for people that are having problems because of their religious beliefs, political beliefs, sexual orientation, and so on, and have to flee from their places. Another characteristic is this comprehensive approach I mentioned before. And last but not least, one of the characteristics of this program is the support of the governance bodies. How does the program work? The program, as you can see, I hope so, has these lines of action. The first one is the one related to the refugees that are already living in Barcelona, Catalonia, Spain, let's say. In this line, the program supports refugee students, providing them with exemption in their tuition fees for degrees and official masters. The program also offers Spanish courses, and we also support NGOs in their work. This is like the baseline that the universities that are supporting refugees are doing or are working. The second one is the transition course to the university. This is the flagship of the program, and it's aimed at the students living in third countries outside the European Union that come to the University of Barcelona as international students, and this is very important to keep in mind, with a full scholarship for studying this course of Catalan and Spanish languages, plus human rights and labor market. There are 15 places for students in vulnerable situations, and it's co-funded by the University of Barcelona and the Barcelona City Council. We have carried out 3 editions of this course. The third line, as you can see, is focused on projects to support local action in the fields such as diversity, migration, forced movement of people, etc. We work with local city councils and NGOs. The fourth line is the one related to European projects and international projects on diversity, social, economic, and academic inclusion. And the fifth and the sixth lines focus on solidarity initiatives and room for participation in the fields mentioned above. The next slides illustrate the main fields of the program. I would like to highlight the psychosocial support program. The support is offered by University of Barcelona Solidarity Foundation staff that is dedicated to this field, by students from a master's of the Faculty of Psychology of the University of Barcelona. And we provide also support in terms of psychological assistance, but not a general psychological assistance, an assistance focused on trauma and migration difficulties. I would like to highlight as well the recognition of previous studies. As we have seen before, this is one of the most important obstacles that face the refugee students to access universities. The University of Barcelona approved in 2018 this protocol for the recognition of prior studies. And with this protocol, students have the opportunity to accreditate, if they accreditate their knowledge, to enter, to access their studies, even though they don't have stamped documents or even if they don't have documents at all. As I said before, I would like to stop for a moment in the transition course to the university. This is the flagship, as I mentioned before. As you can see, this is a course, is part of what UNHCR identifies as complementary and safe pathways for refugees. Educational programs, scholarships, besides family reunification, employment in third countries, humanitarian visa and sponsorship programs are part of this complementary pathways that UNHCR wants to promote and reinforce. What are the main characteristics of this transition course to the university? I can mention 8. It's a university extension course. It means that students become UB students and part of the university community since the very first moment of their arrival. It's important, as I said before, that underline that students come to Barcelona with a student visa. And once here, they can decide to stay with this status or ask for asylum. But bearing in mind that Spain doesn't approve too many refugee applications, it's safer to stay with the international student status. The course is a bridging course, so it's the first step in their academic curriculum in Spain. It has a specific methodology for the learning of 2 languages at the same time. I would like to focus on the target. Among refugee students in vulnerable situations, the transition course encourages the participation of women and specific vulnerable groups like LGBTQ group. I have to say that the course is co-funded by the University of Barcelona and the Barcelona City Council and offers this full scholarship that continues until the end of the studies. The transition course and the program itself is possible because the implementation of a network within the university. I hope you can see here the whole picture of the network we have carried out during these years. There are more than 20 areas, departments, faculties involved in the program. The external network is composed by public administrations, other universities that are helping us or supporting us, or we are supporting them in their welcome programs. City councils like Barcelona, I mentioned before, Viladecans, Hospitalet, Generalitat de Catalunya. We have a network of NGOs that provide us with legal advice, post-trauma, psychological support, and enterprises that help us with the labor market integration of our students. Last but not least, I would like to introduce here the voices of our students, in this case, their words. There are 2 testimonies of two students that arrived last January here in Barcelona. I would like to read you what they wrote. I came to Barcelona as part of the scholarship to support refugees, and to be honest, I was waiting for this opportunity and was afraid to miss it, especially after all the racism, sexual abuse, and exploitation I experienced in Lebanon. I lived in Lebanon for more than 7 years. There were difficult years. The higher education at a master level was not a guarantee to improve our lives while living in a refugee camp. Thanks to the refugee support program of the University of Barcelona, I am now in Barcelona, a city where I feel that my rights are respected as a human being and having an opportunity at the same time to study at the university. I give you with these words of hope, these words that can help us to understand the importance of having a safe place, of having a second opportunity, a second chance to restart your educational pathway, but also your life. Thank you for your attention, and I will gladly answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Catalina, for the introduction. And I also would like to give the floor to our next presenter, Kristina Kovács from the Eötvös Loránd University. And please also, I kindly ask the audience to bear with us with the technicalities. We are on the way to make it sure. We also have the speech-to-text service provision available, and you can also see on the website. All right, I give the floor, and hopefully everything goes well. Thank you.
And I work at ELTE University. Many greetings from Budapest, from ELTE University. I am the disability coordinator of the university and also the leader of an office, which is the office supporting students' special needs. I hope you can see now my slides. I'm very sorry for this is the first time for using this kind of online platform. I've used others. So what does equal opportunity mean in higher education? I would like to quote Martin Luther King Jr., "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." And I have chosen this quotation because it has a connotation with our motto, "No one can be left behind." How far have we reached in Hungary? We have quite good legislation. For example, we ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. We have Equal Opportunity Act for persons with disability, and we have Higher Education Act, and including which includes special regulations for students with disabilities. Our Higher Education Act and the enacting clause give lots of opportunities for positive discrimination and reasonable accommodation for students with special needs. For example, it mentions equal access, which I think is very modern and very up to date. The lecturer also has to take into consideration the student's special needs. There has to be institutional and faculty disability coordinator pointed out by the rector. Students have right to receive provision according to their special needs and disability. Students can get state-financed higher education on all levels, maximum of 12 years. I mean the bachelor and master. But students with disability can get 4 extra semesters. Students with disability have to be provided education and evaluation that is suitable for their special needs. Practical subject can be fulfilled with other like theoretical subjects. Oral exams can be fulfilled written or vice versa. They can be released from obligatory state language examination, which is required to get a diploma in Hungary. And they can use assistive technology, special equipment, even during the exams. And they get more preparation time during the exams, and they can ask for personal assistance and note takers. There are other regulations for the admissions. They can get extra credits for the admission procedure. And if there is any entry requirement, this has to be also adapted to their special needs. We get 150,000 Hungarian forint from the ministry, which is a normative support. So after each student who is registered, it is the equivalent of about 400 euro per year per student. So this is the financial background which we can use for providing equal access. Who are eligible to get our service or to be registered? I have to say that only the so-called classical types of disabilities, visual impairment, hearing impairment, physical disability, speech impairment, learning disability like dyslexia, dysgraphia, ADHD, behavioral regulation disorder, etc., autism spectrum disorder, and multiple impairment. And as you can see, the missing categories is, for example, the psychosocial disability or the chronic illness. A few words about the background, how we started. ELTE University started to provide service for students with disabilities in 2004. Disability coordinators were pointed out and in all faculties, but they had no training and they had no special knowledge on disability or on special education background. Of course, exception there was one exception, the Faculty of Special Education, and they were working absolutely lonely without any networking. In 2010, the Ministry of Education, where we belonged to those days, asked our university to nominate a disability coordinator for the whole university who had special education diploma. That was myself. And then we started to formulate a group, a team with the faculty disability coordinators, and we started to work out a kind of common registration procedure, a common view how we help. But the problem was that the faculties were used very individual approaches. There was absolutely no service, or if there was service in some of the faculties, they were not equal in quantity and quality. And the number of students with disability had a big growth year by year. So there was a time for change. In 2015, we had the opportunity to establish an office for supporting students with special needs, which is under the University Service Directorate. And the acronym, Hungarian acronym of this office is SHUTI, and SHUTI means cookie or cake. So it has quite a nice meaning in Hungarian. The members, we have 13 faculty and dormitory disability coordinators, plus 8 professionals. The 8 professionals work in the office. The faculty coordinators are usually teachers, lecturers, or administrative staff working in the faculties. These 8 professionals, 5 special ed teachers specialized in different disabilities, 1 ICT professional specialized in accessibility, and 2 social care professionals. Our aims are ensuring equal opportunity, accessibility, and support to improve awareness, providing information on any disability-related issue and universal design. This information mainly asked by teachers, faculty members, and the administrative staff, forming the inclusive policy of the university, facilitating self-empowerment of students with special needs, which I will tell in a few minutes how we do it. We give platform to students with disability in all of the programs we organize for the university students, academic and administrative staff, to the public or to the community of people with disability. And we aim to reach full participation of the students with special needs with the motto that Agnes also used, nothing about us without us. Here is some statistics. The number of students with disability this autumn was 424, which constitutes for 1.3% of ELTE students. I know that this number, or especially the ratio, is not as big as other universities in Europe, which is between 3, 7, 10, even 12% in some countries. But as I mentioned, the definition of students with special needs differs and much narrower than in other universities. And the portion of the different special needs, as you can see probably, the biggest ratio of the student has learning disability, standing for 42% of the total. The second largest group is autism spectrum, 17%. The third is visual impairment, 12%. Then, the third is students with physical disability, 13%. The next one, the fourth one, is visual impairment with 12%. And then hearing impairment is 8%. And the others are much less, representing much less percentage. We work almost every department of the university. So of course we have very, very close contact with the library, where we send the adapted material, which we adapt, of course, the faculties, lecturers, and staff, the student government, the student hostels or dormitories, the rectors commissioners, the career center, the sport club, the committee on equal opportunities, life management counseling center, the alumni, and international department. We also have outside connections and cooperation with the stakeholders. We have very good contacts with the unions and associations, like we can say NGOs of persons with disabilities. These are NGOs of the blind and visually impaired, of the deaf and hard of hearing, of persons with physical disabilities, etc. We also have cooperation with the foundations who support people with disabilities. These are mainly also NGOs working in the field of employment and supported employment. We have also good connections with companies and firms, so from the business world and their associations, because they provide labor market for our students. For example, the Hungarian Business Leaders Forum, the IBM Hungary, etc. And also other universities and their disability coordinators. These are big universities all around the countries. And organizations that provide rehabilitation. And we also have psychotherapists who they provide psychotherapy to our students in need. Our services, we have quite big portion of our services, the adaptation of the learning material. It doesn't only mean digitalization, because it also means conversion from one file type to another type. This service is mainly used by students with visual impairment and students with physical disability. We also make tactile graphics, verbal description of pictures and tables, etc. And we have a database on the adapted material, and we send it to the central library so the students can download the adapted material from home. We also provide route teaching, orientation and mobility training, only one part of it, the route teaching, from home to student hostel, to the faculty, inside and outside the buildings, either with white cane or with guide dogs. We also have individual training in the use of Neptune. That's the electric learning system of the university, which is unfortunately not fully accessible. We also recruit, train, and supervise personal assistants. Personal assistants in our system are students themselves, and they are paid. We contract them, we train them, and we supervise them. We also provide ICT counseling, teaching how to use the libraries, training in learning techniques, and also counseling on career we also provide autism-specific therapies, different kind. We can hire accessible minibus or taxi, give taxi check to those students who are in need. We also have speech therapy, and we also provide a social caregiver for everyday activities or personal hygiene for the students. We focus on information providing to the lecturer staff, parents, or students themselves. So we, for example, wrote, as you can see in the picture on the right top, the guidebooks for the teachers and staff. It is online and also printed. It's a series of publication. We also have a website with lots of information and Facebook, and we have a closed email list for and with the students themselves. We can provide sensibility trainings if they invite us, and career counseling, accessibility counseling, and we also counsel and support Erasmus mobility for outgoing and incoming students. We also provide group activities. which is not really easy in nowadays because of the pandemic. But we have Asperger group. It is going on online. We have English speaking group, career management course, that's also online. Game club, now it cannot be run now. Learning technique course, goalball course, it's an inclusive sport for credits for any students of the university. Para swimming course, inclusive sport day, that's always in September, the International University Sport Day. Open day for secondary schools, that's in February, so before they decide which university to choose. And we call it day zero. That's an orientation day for the freshmen, and this is at the end of August to help them for orientation in university life. We have some international programs which we participated. The first one was exchangeability, that was fostering mobility of students with disability. Then we also took part in mapability, and we also participated in an international swimming competition in Poznan, and the EUSA, European University Sport Association. We organized 3 Erasmus Staff Week disability workshops. We participated in research run by the European Blind Union that was, by the way, on the topic of mobility of students with visual impairment. We visit regularly European universities in the frame of Erasmus Plus staff mobility, and we try to participate in international conferences. Thank you very much for your attention. Here are some pictures of our students. These were made with their permission.
Thank you so much, Christina, for your presentation. And I also would like to give the floor to the next speaker from the University of Montpellier. And I really hope that she can join us and we can follow the program accordingly.
Can you hear me? Or?
Fantastic. Welcome, Agnes. There is 2 Agneses in the screen right now. Welcome. I give the space to you. You have 15 minutes for your presentation, and please follow the structure. We will also notify you. Thank you so much, and the floor is yours.
I try to share my screen, but I'm not sure. So thanks to everybody. Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you just tell me if you're hearing me or not? Yeah. Yes, okay, that's fine. So, hello everybody, I'm Agnès Fichard-Carole. I'm the Vice President of the University of Montpellier, and I was told that for this presentation to show one of our actions that is done for disabled people and students. So I won't present an overview of our actions, but only a few of them. And it's an application called ENDI. So maybe some of you, I'm sure that some of you get something like this in your universities. But for us, it was a big work and big challenge. So maybe if I can have the next slide, please. I'm sorry for this. So the context is that we've got an increasing number of students with disabilities, and it's going up to 30% more in 3 years, and maybe because they got more attention in secondary school, so they arrived at the university, and it makes it difficult for all the teams that have to work with them to organize themselves. We couldn't use the same Excel files, for instance, or sharing information was a bit difficult. So we have tried to make something a bit more dematerialized team, or at least an application that would be useful to all the people dealing with students. Maybe can I have the next share? Okay, and we've got a global blueprint with a lot of actions. I think there are 40 actions. And the one that I'm just going to show you today is the application. So this application called Andy. Maybe the next slide. So when we are working with students with special needs, we have, so as I mentioned, several actions, like for instance, we can pay for their internship. We offer also postdoctoral and doctoral positions. But we had this problem of administrative files that are really getting like a burden for everybody. So what I'm going to show you is not, it doesn't sound very sexy, and I didn't really want to share this, but Elliot told me that it would be interesting, so I'm doing it. So it's not very sexy, but it's very useful for the teams. So the team, as we call it, it's first students, of course, themselves, but also the medical services of the university, the disability service team. It's in our university. It's called Diversité. The administration of faculties. We've got 15 faculties in the University of Montpellier, with a very different way of dealing with scholarship, and also a lot of professors and lecturers. So next slide, please. So we have to do for this for the students two things. First, to establish their learning needs, and then their exam needs. And for the exam needs, it's a very legal proceeding with official forms signed by the president. And we have sometimes it happened that we have some legal issues. So it's a very for us, it's very important to have something that is really reliable. Among the objectives of the application, it's first to improve coordination, support, and follow-up of students, to improve information transmission between all the partners that I've named before, and also with the ministry, so in Paris. And they often ask us for information, and it was sometimes very difficult to deal with the information that they were asking for. So we just conceived the applications so that it's very easy to answer their questions. It's also to have more reliable and shared information between everybody. Next slide, please. So for this application, the students can download it, and he can make any application that he wants. He can ask any questions. Then following his application, there are interviews. So we can have two types of interviews, either with the medical staff or with the Diversité, so the disability service. They made recommendations, of course, depending on the demand. And then we established two forms. One is the learning needs, and the other one is the exam needs. And this, of course, has to be in relationship with what we called in France scolarité. So it's the people in the faculties who have to arrange the teaching, considering the recommendations that have been made. So next slide, please. So the treatment of an application is a bit complicated, but I mean there are several steps, but actually it's easy because the student has just to make his demand, and then we interview them or either by phone or we can meet them, and then we make our recommendation. And the real improvement of this application is that in the faculties, in the different faculties, they receive a note with our recommendation, and they can, for instance, make some notice, and for instance, if there are practical work and that the doctor said that it should be done in this way or in another way, the faculty can say, okay, it will be difficult for us, can we exchange because we're in trouble with what you just asked, or for instance, it's absolutely needed that the student has some special, for instance, a personal assistant, or these types of things, because sometimes medical services can be a bit far away from the teaching. So it's we have about more than 1,000 students with impairments, so it can be sometimes very tricky for the faculties to help them in the right way. So there's an exchange, and then we can make end the forms, and then we just have to deal with it, to do it, and that's easier. Maybe next slide. So you just go on the ELTE, and there's a special box called ND. So maybe to go to the next slide. It was just, it would have been nice if I could have done it myself, because I could have shown you how it works. But and then you arrive on this platform, and the students can make a demands. You can have all the files concerning the students. We can have the forms as they've been filled. You can have also the interview, what was the numbers of interviews that have been done, and also what was decided during the interviews. Next slide, please. So for instance, I had to hide some box because there was a name of students, but for instance, I can see that this form has been followed by somebody of the staff in Diversité, that the thing is finished, everything has been done, and so everything that has to be done with administration is under control. And for instance, for this file, you can see that there are still work to do on this file. Maybe next slide. You can have the pictures of the students, so you can easily recognize them. I've also hidden the pictures because of confidentiality, but you can have all the information about their profile and with their scholarship and everything. Next slide, please. And here, for instance, it's a report from a short interview that was being done with phone, and it's just written that the student has asked for some computer, and so all the medical services can see it, the disability service can see it, the student can see it, the coordinator can see it, everybody can see that this demand was being done, and we have to deal with it, of course. Next slide. Then that's almost the same as before, but it's the list of where you find the complete study needs. It's another screen, but it's almost the same. Okay, next slide. And this is, for instance, what the student will have, and I can hardly see because it's so small on my screen, but it's, for instance, he will get the right to go outside the exam because he needs, for instance, to go to the toilet or to have some insulin injection or whatever. So he's allowed to go out of the session room, of the test room. He needs also, he will have extra time for all the exams that he will do. That's an example, but also it's shared by everybody and of course by the student, and he can print it and do it, handle it as he wants. Next slide, please. And so you can see what we call a notification, and you can see that the 6th of November, somebody has from the university, from the faculty, has looked at the project and said that it's okay. He's changed a bit of something, The medical support has said okay, so they just said everything is fine for us. The disability service will, for instance, provide the computer, or will provide the assistant or whatever, has also said okay for us, it's fine. Then the faculty said okay, it's fine. The medical team has signed, so it's not more a project, it's finished and it has been signed. It has been signed also by Untitled. The student has also signed it, and the two forms, and then it's back to the faculty, and the faculty can just, for instance, try to find a room where the student can be alone to do his exam or whatever he needs for his session, his exam session. So you can see that everything is controlled, everything is signed, and that everybody has seen it. Next slide. And of course, it's very administrative, and it's a bit, yeah, as I said, it's not very sexy, but for us, it was a great improvement because the student can get access to his what we call PA, Plan d'Aménagement, a company plan. And he can indicate by ticking a box or boxes whether he wants to get information or not. For instance, job offers, inquiry, library, all the stuff that can be presented. It's also allowed the people to work together in a dematerialized way, so you don't have necessarily to phone or to make appointments, and so it's nice. Also, they are still using the phone and they still have contact, but everything can see the files without saying, okay, I can't find this file anymore, or where is it, or has it been done or not. Also, what I've not shown is that there are automatic notifications. So it means that every time that somebody is doing something on the computer, the student, we will receive a mail. The medical services will receive a mail. Everybody who has to deal with the file receive a notification saying, okay, something has been done on this file, and you can have a look if you want or if you need it. And of course, there's notification if you need to do something, it's specified, it said it needs your intervention. The nice thing also is everything is on one place. So what is in the faculty, what is in the medical school, in the medical services, what is in university, all the papers, everything is just at the right place, in one place. So that was also a real improvement. Also, the teaching staff and the administrative staff in the faculties can make observation because before the final decision, in France, it's the president of the university who said, okay, I agree with this accompanying plan. So also with the learning or the exam don't need. So everything has worked together to make this plan. So it's very important. It's an improvement because sometimes, I mean, the faculty would find the plan at the last minute and they were in trouble to design something appropriately. And the nice thing also, and it's in development, that any teacher will be able to check, of course, non-confidential information that would help him to design his course or exam. So if you're a teacher and you've got a student that has some disabilities or special needs, you can go to this Andy platform and you just tell his name, and then you will find what you have to do, and also we'll hope to put advice as well. But you don't have to have somebody who's telling you that you've got some students with special needs. You can be proactive. The teachers can be proactive, and they can find very easily the information. So for us, it was also a great improvement. And I think also what was very, very time consuming for us. I don't know if maybe your administration is a bit lighter, but for us in France, it's sometimes very heavy. And the application has been designed to make any reporting very easy. So, for instance, to know how many students have, for instance, auditory impairment, you just have to click and then you have all the information about it and where they are, where they're studying. You can sort it out the way you want, and it's very easy. Also, in terms of financial means that have been allocated to the students. So I think this is the end. So that's okay. I finished with it, and maybe it's a very French application, but we know that everybody is other university in France are interested in it, and we hope that we can also so disseminate a bit, at least in France. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Agnes, for this presentation. And I would like to also very warmly welcome the colleague from the Utrecht I'm in order, sorry, Trinity. So the colleague from Trinity. And I also would like to kindly ask her to introduce herself, and the floor is yours. And after Trinity, we will move to Utrecht. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much for having me here today. Hi, everybody. My name is Jen, and I work in Trinity Access, which is in Trinity College Dublin. I work on the Trinity Access programme, and I'm here today specifically to talk about Pathways to Law. Before we get into Pathways to Law, I just thought it would be nice to give some context about why does Trinity Access exist. So this map shows the progression rates to third level education by area code in Dublin. In certain areas, up to 99% of students progress to further education, while in others, only 15% of students progress. Trinity Access aims to support individuals from underrepresented areas to reach their full educational potential. This is achieved through partnership across the education sector with students, teachers, families, communities, and businesses. We recognise that the dreams and potential of our students should not be limited by where they live. So if you look at the map there, Trinity College Dublin is in the square or the shape that's labelled 2. So Trinity is in an area where only 26% of students go on to further education. So they could live, and they often do, on the same street as our university, but they won't progress. And then if you look at the postcode labelled 6, 99% of students there go on to further education. If we look at this more closely, the Leaving Cert is the last exam of second level education in Ireland, and this is this class of 100 people. But if we look at it, children of higher professionals progress to third level education 100% of the time. So if you're born to a solicitor or a financial expert or someone in a higher profession, you're almost guaranteed to go to third level education. However, if you look at the children of non-manual workers, only roughly 23% progress to third level education. Our research has shown that if your parents are going to third level education, there's many more barriers that will face you. So our story so far, Trinity Access was launched in 1993 with 7 outreach network schools. So there are 7 second level schools in the greater Dublin area. In 1997, we launched our foundation course. It's a year-long program for 25 young adults and 25 mature students, where they get a taste of university life before committing to a full university degree. And then their results from that foundation course year allows them entrance into a full university degree. In 1999, we increased our schools to 20, so we are now working with 20 schools in the greater Dublin area. In 2004, our post-entry progression programme was developed with a target of 15%. So the target was 15% of all entrants into Trinity College Dublin would come from non-traditional backgrounds. In 2009, 452 undergrads entered into college through the Here and There scheme, which looked at areas of low socioeconomic backgrounds and also disabilities, and that allowed entrance in through lower points. This was launched nationally in 2012. In 2014, we launched College Awareness Week, which was launched for 2020 today. So happy College Awareness Week, everybody. In 2016, Lady Margaret Hall in Oxford launched their own foundation year, which tries to replicate the success that we have had, and we work very closely with them on that. And now in 2020, we have 1,006 total undergrads in Trinity College Dublin that are supported by Trinity Access. Trinity Access operates through an action research cycle. So at the end of each cycle of an outreach programme, an evaluation is conducted, which informs us how the next stage should be carried out. This allows us to continually provide our students with the support they require to progress to third level education and to adapt as new needs are identified. This cycle ensures that our programmes are sustainable and will continue to help students for years to come. And then just some numbers. So 9,500 students, teachers and parents are engaged with us through school activities each year. They're second level students who haven't entered into college yet. 280 students were admitted through Trinity Access alternative entry routes in 2020. Over 1,000 undergraduates are currently in Trinity College Dublin, and we have had almost 2,000 graduates of Trinity College Dublin since 2012. So the numbers kind of speak for themselves. It's been a big success. So where does Pathways to Law come in? You may have seen on the timeline, but we had research in 2010 that was conducted into the graduate trajectories of our Access students. It found that students struggled to enter into higher professional areas such as law upon graduation. Pathways to Law works with professionals in the legal sector to actively diversify who is entering into law at all levels. This programme works with students over the course of 6 years to prepare them for their careers as legal professionals. Pathways to Law has built incredibly strong relationships with its supporter firms over the course of the last 10 years. Through these relationships, we are able to provide our students with financial support for the duration of their undergraduate degrees. These links also provide students with invaluable connections to the legal sector. Legal professionals from recent graduate trainees all the way up to named partners engaged in Pathways to Law activities each year. So looking at the programme itself, in year one, we engage with 40 fifth-year second-level students. These students are roughly 16 years old, and it's the aim of this year to raise their aspiration and develop their skills. These activities include street law sessions with the Law Society of Ireland, where trainee solicitors facilitate these sessions. And then with the skills they learn in these sessions, we have a mock trial. There is also a summer school each summer held on Trinity College Dublin campus, which allows the students a taste of college life without all the hustle and bustle of everybody there. This year is the first year that students will kind of think of what they want to do in their careers or even in college generally. It's also the first time they're coming into contact with professionals. Most of them come from backgrounds where their parents don't go to college and they work in retail or non-manual workers. In year two, we work with 46-year second level students. So we carry on with the students who start in fifth year. It is the aim of this year to enhance their learning and exposure and also provide them with academic guidance. They participate in university shadowing days. So our undergraduate first year students give up a day of their life and allow 6th year students to shadow them. And because there's such a close age gap in them, the bonds really form and they open up and ask all the questions. So they come in on campus and they sit in an undergraduate lecture and they go to the cafe on campus and they have a full day as a college student before they complete their final exam. We also use the skills that they gained in the first year and we go to court visits. So here they see life in the courts and they also have an opportunity to do a mock trial and stand where real judges stand. And then, as I touched on, there's alternative entry routes into Trinity College Dublin. And we go through these quite extensively so they know what all their options are once they leave second level. In year three, we lose some of the students we originally started with. So not every student who's in the second level programme will progress onto progress into Trinity College Dublin. But the majority of them do progress onto third level education, just not necessarily our university. Total, we have 15 first year undergraduate students. And it's the aim of this year to just allow them some transition support. These are students who have no family tradition of going to college, and it's about settling them in for the year. We provide them with a college orientation week where they get to meet students from similar backgrounds, and they get to build friendships and get comfortable on the campus before all the other students come on. And we also provide them with financial support through bursaries, which are generously provided by our linked firms. In year 4, 5, and 6, we work with 45 second, third, and fourth year undergraduate students. And it's the aim of these 3 years to develop their skills, to allow them to engage in the legal sector, and to provide them with career enhancement opportunities. And we do this through application workshops with our linked firms. They come in and give very specific advice about how to achieve a place on their summer internships or their training contracts. We also provide them with legal buddies. So these are graduate trainees who are at the very start of their careers, who give time for our students to go through applications, to tell them their top tips, and to just kind of be there for them during this application. And now that Pathways to Law has been going on for 10 years, some of our graduates have gone into the firms and they've been able to be buddies. So it's continuing that cycle. They've gone into the firms and they're diversifying it, but they're also giving back to the next generation. Some of the firms give specific work experience for our students, which allows the competition pool to be narrowed greatly, which is a great concern of our students. We also do skills development sessions, so improving their CV or their interview skills. And then for the full 4 years that they are with us in Trinity, we give them personal and academic support. So they know that we are standing in their corner every step of the way, willing to fight with them. The benefits of Pathways to Law. So I was actually a Pathways to Law student. I started with them when I was 15 years old. My mom works in a shop and my dad is a carer, so there was no history of going to college. And I can testify as to the benefits of this programme. The first time I went into the city centre was because of this programme. It was my first taste of independence. And it really allowed me to expand my aspirations. I knew I wanted to go to college. I was quite academic, but I hadn't really thought about what I would be studying. And this programme allowed me that opportunity to think. It allows students to build their networks, meet role models, and gain a sense of self-agency. So I had never met anybody who worked in an office, never mind was a solicitor or a barrister. And through this, I was able to see myself in people. I saw women wearing their power suits in the courts, and I was like, oh, I could do that. It allowed students to gain experience of and in professional environments. So as I said, most of our students would come from backgrounds where they would have no professionals in their family. And this allows them a glimpse into the office life and allows them to see what they could potentially be doing with their careers. Our students also gain knowledge, skills, and opportunities. It's a hands-on experience for 2 years while they're in second level, which really gives them an insight of what they could be studying in university, and then when they're in university, what they could be doing in their careers. It is our aim to teach, lead, mentor, shape, and network. Adam Sinnott is a solicitor who works in one of our linked firms, William Fry, and he said, our participation in Pathways has given us an invaluable insight into the benefits of making the legal profession more widely accessible and into the positive impact programs like Pathways can have not only on the students themselves, but also on their families, friends, and communities. It has also given our team an opportunity to share their experiences with aspiring lawyers and help them take their first steps towards joining the legal profession. And then the independent reviewer of social mobility and child poverty in the UK said, Trinity College Dublin clearly recognises that collaborating with employers and professional training bodies can bring a professional career within reach for a greater range of people. It is commendable that Trinity is working hard to ensure that everybody with ability and motivation can make informed decisions and realise their full educational potential. And that quote really sums up what we aim to do on this programme. Some stats about Pathways to Law. 615 students have benefited from the programme within the last 10 years. So that's students on the second level programme and also in the university programme. 98% of Pathways to Law second level students have completed the programme and 91% have continued on to third level study. So if you cast your mind back to the map I showed at the start of this, the 91% were areas where they are very financially well off, and our students would come from low socioeconomic backgrounds. So to have 91% of them continue on, it's an amazing result. We have 93% completion rate of Trinity Access students on law courses in TCD. 77% of Pathways to Law graduates have graduated with a first-class honours or an upper second-class honours degree, showing that they have the exact same academic ability as their peers who came in through traditional routes. 500 legal professionals have given their time to engage in activities, and we couldn't run our sessions without the legal professionals giving their time. And it has also allowed for the creation of Pathways to Business and Pathways to Tech. These are new pathways programs that we are hoping will allow the business and technology sector to be open up to our students. So I recommend you all go create your own pathways. I recommend you listen to the voice of your students. Are there sectors they are struggling to break into upon graduation? By identifying these areas now, you are ensuring to help break down any barriers your students may face in the future. Collaborate with industry professionals. A more diverse sector is beneficial to both students and employers. Industries must be representative of the entire public. There are countless actions being made in relation to corporate social responsibility each year. Use this as your opportunity to build relationships. And connect with the community around you. Linking with students at an early stage of their journey helps prevent mental barriers from being created. The support you can provide them with can guarantee them the same opportunities their peers are provided with. And that is all for me. Thank you so much for listening to Pathways to Law. Feel free to contact me, and there's more information on our website.
Thank you so much. It was fantastic, and I really hope that our audience at this late hour getting the excitement and also the encouragement to take the leap. Last but not least, it is my honor to introduce our next speaker on the list. Is the colleague from Utrecht University, and I give the floor to you. I hope that the connection is okay. If there's anything else, we are here to help. So the floor is yours. Very warm welcome.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you for this invitation, and I'm happy to tell you something about the Diversity and Inclusion Award that we installed at Utrecht University. So yeah, I'm the last one, so I hope I can inspire you at the very last moment of this long day for you all. Utrecht University strives for more diversity and inclusion among all of the students and employees, of course, just like the other universities. And we were thinking of how to encourage people, students, colleagues, to improve on inclusiveness in education. And we came up with the idea of Diversity and Inclusion Award, and this was installed in 2019. The aim of this award is to put employees that have already come up with great initiatives on the spotlights. So at the same time, as a university, we could learn the good practices that were already happening within our university. So, and in the addition, we think that these initiatives really deserve special attention and appreciation. So, and beside of this, the positive effect of nominating students or colleagues will encourage all of them to continue with the good work they are already doing. So we came up with a procedure. So how does it work? We decided that anyone at Utrecht University could nominate anyone at Utrecht University. So this might be students, employees, or a team of students or a team of colleagues that devote themselves into to increase diversity and inclusion within the Utrecht University. And all initiatives from every field were welcome. So you could think of ethnicity, class, belief, disability, but also LGBTQ or intersections between these fields. And well, the nominees, they must have undertaken significant effort to improve diversity and inclusion within Utrecht University, and they at least have to maintain this improvement for 1 year. Of course, within this nomination, it should have been stated what the contribution of the nominee is, and the nomination must be accompanied with at least 2 separate reference letters. last couple of years, last year, and there is now a new round, I'm part of the review committee, and I was really, really impressed with the way several people are so devoted to improve diversity and inclusion, and many projects that, as the task force diversity and inclusion, we were not aware of so far. So really good practices that were already going on an individual note within the university. Well, the nominees were about equal treatment, about inclusion, about selection to improve the diversity among students, about broadening participation in general. We had nominees on social commitment program, and also nominees on how to improve intercultural communication. So it was really nice to see that there were nominees from different types of projects to improve inclusiveness. And the nice thing is that we also saw nominees on the individual student. We saw nominees on whole groups of students, like student associations who had nice programs developed, but also on individual employees, mainly teachers, who has really tried efforts to build in their education courses to improve intercultural communication or to improve inclusiveness. All kinds of different innovative ways. And there were also nominations on a group of teachers, a team, how they build a program to improve the first couple of weeks to socialize for students at the start of their academic education, that they feel at home from the beginning already for students. So it was really difficult to make choices, and so we had to look really critically, okay, all good initiatives, how then to make a choice. And now we decided to pay special attention to the innovative character aspects of these nominees, and whether they were able to continue, and whether there were unique qualities of the nominations, and made a decision based on this. Actually, I have to say that we had last year 9 nominees, and they all were really good nominees. But and that is then a nice thing. All these people told us that they are really, because they were nominated by someone else from in their faculty where they work, they really gave them energy to continue with the work. So being nominated was already very useful, and very much being appreciated by and within the faculty, being more visible with the work that you do to improve inclusiveness was already very much worthwhile. And so that's also already good to tell you guys. But of course, there can only be one the winner. And the Utrecht University decided that the one who is the winner can then have a sum of money of 2,500 euros. And this money can be used to improve diversity within Utrecht University. So either they can improve the projects or the things that they were already doing, or coming up with an additional project that they liked, and develop more education or anything that they think is useful to do to improve it. And the nice thing is that when after then this prize is given to the winner in a special ceremony, really by the someone from the university board. And this person is put really in the spotlight. It's in the newsletters, and therefore you can also bring more attention within the Utrecht University as well to everyone. Like, okay, as a university, we appreciate these initiatives, and we really this is something that we find important and useful to incorporate in your education or within student associations. So it has several. It's not only just to put one person in the spotlight and tell them how much we appreciate, but it actually as a university, you show to all of your employees and students that you really appreciate projects and initiatives on inclusion. So it has several side effects besides just appreciating one person as the winner. So it's a really nice way of also giving some attention. Beside all of there were several other very nice, good practices and good ideas. But this is then for the persons who did so much effort to design something, education or whatever, then to show to the universe that you appreciate it. So that's why we came up with this Diversity and Inclusion Award. And hopefully next year there will be there are already nominees for the second round, and I'm sure that there will be really good projects within it as well. So that's what I would like to tell you guys, and hopefully it will help you to come up with some sort of an award for colleagues or students who put some efforts to this important topic as well.
Thank you so much. I hope that that you can hear me. Good.
I can hear, yes.
Excellent. All right. So with this, I would like to thank everyone. Today we had a very, very busy and exciting last session of today. And I also would like to, first of all, share with you that my colleagues who are following the YouTube platform, they are indicated there are no questions, but it doesn't stop us, because we also hope that you keep continuing the conversation. And this session was a conversation starter for you. And with Charm EU hashtags and Charm EU days, you can also follow the conversation and keep us alive in these sessions. Good. With this, I would like to also share my screen just to have the recap and also have the final words before our closure. Just one thing, please be. Yes, I hope that I'm sharing my screen. I'm just looking at the platform. Yes. Just a second. All right. So I really hope that you see my presentation. Yes, perfect. So I also put on full screen. And the last thing what I would like to do today is that to conclude and again thank all the speakers today, their contribution, and to wrap up that basically what we need to do is to have a constant promotion and a widespread awareness of the benefits of the individual and social and economic aspects of inclusion in SDGs, in Sustainable Development Goals, in the European Green Deal, and in all kinds of policies and practices that we are that are around us, actually, from social affairs to education, all to the sustainability elements, all the climate change, everything. And again, to focus with this collaboration that we are working together to create a more inclusive European and a global environment. And I'm also very happy and very excited that I can also see these wonderful, good practices today from the colleagues. And if we join this energy together, it's really, really makes a big change. And of course, we need to be as well realistic. Inclusion is a journey. So please join us on this journey. And last but not least, I also would like to highlight that why we are talking about inclusion and why is it super essential and high on the agenda. And I also brought a quote from my article that it says, ensuring inclusion and equity in all areas of higher education should therefore not be based on a philanthropic approach, but rather on alignment with basic human rights. A human rights approach requires various actors within society to actively promote the necessary conditions for all individuals to fully realize their rights. And I also quoted partly from Teresa Degener on this, and I also included in this session today, because I really feel and really believe that it's crucial that we work on a human rights-based approach, and we bring together all the stakeholders to create a more inclusive European and global environment, and also a more inclusive European Green Deal for us. This is my last words, and I'm also checking the time. We are 4 minutes ahead of schedule. So I have a how you say it, a surprise for all of us. And let me just give me a second. I really hope, and I will also close my screen so you will see my face, hopefully. Yes. So this is a bouquet. I hope that it's also following some of the branding guidelines of Charm EU. And it's a huge thank you for all the organizers, behind the scene supporters, and also the today's presenters from the morning, from 9:30 sharp until basically 5:30 in the evening. And I also would like to thank everyone who has been supported this day together to make it happening. I also would like to thank the speech-to-text service providers who are also behind the screen, but you can also follow this, the captioning on the additional link. They will continue working with us tomorrow at 10 a.m. And please also join us at the panel discussion. And we will also have a so-called repertoring back, so like reporting back what happened during the clusters. So instead of an online bouquet, I also brought a real bouquet, and I hope that our energy will motivate you to take the next steps to be inclusive. And with this further note, I think so that this is everything. I'm also asking the supporters back in the, backstage, that everything is okay. And we are absolutely ahead of schedule, 2 minutes. But again, I also would like to thank everyone, and we will see each other tomorrow. And I also encourage stakeholders to join the conversation, and then we can work towards a more inclusive Europe. So thank you so much, and I give back the floor to the organizers, I guess. Thank you.